皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Shogo's podcast. So, some of you may have noticed, but I actually hid. Basically, it's called unlisted, but I unlisted the video on this podcast channel where I talked about my father. Basically, a story to make a really long story short. I talked about probably like 15 minutes or something, but to make a long story short, he was quite a abusive person in the past. Growing up, he did apply a lot of violence on me and everything. And but in the end, I wanted to say that he was a very hardworking person as a president of a company. And come to think of it, I forgive him now for all of his mistakes. And he probably was doing everything he could back at that time. And if I can see him now, it'd be great. Basically, the story was like this. However, I was talking with my mother who came over to my house the other day to celebrate my first daughter's birthday. We were having a discussion about that podcast. It seems she listened to it. And of course, my parents are completely divorced when I was in high school. So, well, technically speaking, they weren't divorced when I was in high school. They started to live separately from high school, and divorce was, established, completed much later. But anyways, around there. And my mother was saying that, I am a so-called influencer who does have a certain amount of followers or subscribers and such. And in that podcast, I was saying certain names of the companies and such. And my mother thought that was a little bit inappropriate, especially if you're going to be talking about a person's past. You could easily identify my father if you wanted to. So if you ever, for example, try to if you remember the company name that my father worked in and such, I will unfortunately have to block you, or I'll block the keywords of the name and such. This is something that we decided, my mother and I decided together, so I hope you understand. Anyways, today, because I talked about my father already in that podcast, and I'm pretty sure many of you already listened to it, actually, one of the podcasts that got a lot of views actually talked about my father. So today, I'd like to talk a little bit about my mother too. Yeah, I was really surprised that she listens to my podcast, and one thing I was really surprised about is that I completely only speak English in my podcast, and I talk at full speed, but it seems she's able to still understand it. She was only in the US for 6 years, like how many years back now? More than a decade ago, right? So yeah, I was really surprised that she can still understand what I'm talking about. But anyways, because I talked about my father, I thought I'd love to talk about my mother. First of all, my mother and I definitely still have a very good relationship. Compared to my father, who I don't know where he is or can't contact, and can't just reach out that easily. My mother and I really just keep in touch, and we were definitely close. Like for example, this occasion, where my mother and also my younger sister and younger brother came over to my house to celebrate my first daughter's birthday. We're at this distance, but also at the same time, we are not too close where we would irritate ourselves, if that makes sense. I really feel that children and parents tend to, whenever they get too close once they're adults, I personally feel that the relationship tends to start to get a little bit difficult. And the thing that, of course, I talked about in my podcast where I talked about my father too, that there are things that I really was not happy about that my mother did to me or said to me, But again, I forgive my parents, both of them, not just my father, but also my mother, and I respect her. I'm very, very thankful that she raised me, or raised the three of us, almost completely on her own, while trying to bear all the stress that was given from her husband, right? So I definitely respect her for that, especially as a father who's going to be becoming a father of 3 children myself. And my first child and my second child was born exactly the same timing, the same age as my mother when she gave birth to me and my younger sister. So including this too, I was able to really, relate to her feelings much more now. And right now, because I have my beautiful wife Harumi to take care of my kids with me, I can't even imagine how hard it would have been to try to take care of 3 kids on your own almost. Yeah. So I respect her for that. I'm very thankful. But the biggest thing that I think I respect my mother as a mother, as a parent, the most is that she always trusts us and lets us do whatever we want to. Now, that's not an easy thing to do for any parent on any nation or country on this planet. it's a common thing that we always talk about, how parents want their kids to do certain things or go that way or do this, don't do that, don't go that way, and that's not how it's supposed to be, kind of thing. And they try to shove it against their kids, and I completely understand that now. I mean, you've been taking care of your kids since the time when they were still wearing diapers, and you start to feel that your kids always need you, and your kids really do need you when they're young. They can't do anything without your help. And even once they're grown up, you start to lose the borderline of where that was. There will, of course, be a timing when your kids will become adults, and there will be, of course, a timing when they will be leaving you. And some parents who, what should I say, rely on their kids too much of their existence. Again, as I always say, I understand what human happiness is as you feeling that you belong somewhere or you're needed by someone. And when parents, rely on their kids to feel that too much, when they grow up and they try to leave you, they get very angry, or they still try to grasp onto the control of their children that they used to have. And that's very unhealthy. And that really does end up to very sad breakups between parents and children, I feel. And considering that, although my mother, had a very bad relationship with her husband, with my father, and they had to break up and everything, she, of course, probably relied on us a lot too, for her mental health and everything. And of course, that's one of the parts that I suffered a lot, as I explained in my previous podcast. You guys might remember, we can't listen to it anymore, but still, in the end, she always tells us that you can do whatever you want to. Like, your life is your life. I have no right to decide what you guys are going to be doing. And after raising 3 kids and dedicating almost all of your life to the lives of those children, in the end, being able to say that I really don't, in a good way, don't care, don't mind about whatever you guys want to do. Do it if you want to do it. I'm not the ruler of your lives. That's something great. I mean, you dedicate everything to someone, and in the end, that person doesn't do something for you, and you still say that's okay and that's the way it should be. I think that needs a lot of courage. You would expect something back from people that you've given so much to. And I understand parents and children's relationships are special, but many people still can't do that, right? So I think that's the thing that I respect about my mother the most, especially the words that she has told all 3 of us, all 3 of us brothers and sisters, all 3 kids, is that I think that you have the right to do whatever you want to do in your lives. And trust me, you guys are going to be okay because you guys are my kids. Yeah. This is something that she always told us. And these words are exactly the opposite of, because you're this person's child, you'll never succeed, that kind of stuff. That gives you a lot of courage and bravery, that someone, at least one person on this planet, always believes in you, that you'll be able to get good results or succeed, or in the end, be happy. Yeah. I mean, when you don't have anything, when it's your very first step to start to challenge something, you feel that you're completely alone on that journey. You have no one on your side. Even some of your closest friends might be like, well, that's great, you're going to be doing that challenge, but they don't fully understand what you're trying to go through, And when you're facing that, I really feel that having your parent, especially who you got your DNA from, telling you that he or she trusts you, believes in you 100%, that really can be life-changing, I feel. And I'm really thankful that my mother told me this. It definitely helped me a lot when I had to go through the hardest times of my life. Yeah. My mother gave me a lot of challenges too. There's a lot that I had to fight through the challenges that she gave me as a first child of the family. But also at the same time, she gave me 100 times, 1,000 times more power to fight through the troubles of being an adult or being a parent or being a business owner and all these things. So I really, really appreciate her for that. And that's exactly the reason why I'm able to tell my own kids the same thing too, that I trust you, that I believe in you, and no matter what happens, I'll be on your side. And all of you guys, all of you three are going to be okay. Everything's going to be perfect because you are Harumi and mine, which means you are mom and dad's kids. You guys are going to be 100% okay. That's it for today. Thank you very much for listening, guys. I am very sorry. During my whole talk, you probably were hearing my kids already downstairs, and my second daughter is really into blowing her flute, the toy flute, and I'm so sorry if it was loud. There's really no way I can stop them completely. So I am upstairs, they're downstairs. I have all the doors closed and everything. We're doing everything I can, but this is as quiet as I can keep them. If you have kids, you probably understand what I mean, right? So anyways, I apologize in advance. I'm sorry. So at the end of these podcasts, I always talk about my dream, and it is to make all Japan lovers' dreams come true. So I know there's a lot of people studying Japanese willing to come to Japan to travel, study, or work, or even train our traditional culture and such, right? However, I am very afraid that Japan will not be able to make everyone's dreams come true in the future because we're facing a lot of social problems, we're losing our traditional culture, and the younger generations who are supposed to be carrying on the good things about Japan are dying because of all the social issues being shoved against them. So I really want to dedicate my life trying to make Japan a better place. I want to try to solve the social problems, preserve and evolve traditional culture, and also help out the younger generations so they can have a better future. And to do this, the nearest goal I have right now is to achieve 2 million subscribers by January 2023 on our main channel. So your likes and comments help to boost our videos. New viewers have never seen our channel before, so it'd be great if you can help us out. Yeah. Then thank you so much for listening to another very, very private story. Although I think it's something very important for me, especially as a parent, so I wanted to share this story with you. If there are any actions or words that your parents gave you that still gives you power today, please, I love especially looking at the comments of this podcast channel. So I'll be waiting for all of your comments. Then thank you so much, guys.